Hello, friends, and welcome to episode 2 of the Timist Podcast Series. My name is James, and I am the Timist, and the host of the thing you're currently listening to. In this episode, our guest of honor happens to be an authorized dealer of many brands. We'll talk to him about his latest personal watch purchase, we'll also discuss the latest Tag Heuer releases, and also shine a spotlight on the Rolex 1908 because someone got hands-on time with it. Spoilers, it's not me. I actually talk about Sartory Billard, an independent watchmaker creating piece uniques for a lot less than you'd ever imagine. And we close things out by going behind the curtain to talk about how, as an AD, do you actually decide who gets the call for a watch. All this and more. So sit back, relax, grab a drink and a snack while I introduce our guest. Conor, welcome to the Timist Podcast Series, episode 2. Really glad that you were able to join us again. How are you?
I'm well. I'm happy to be here.
Obviously, tradition now in our second outing. What kind of watch is on your wrist, sir?
You know, I'm a huge respecter of traditions, so I will happily entertain this. And also, it's a new watch for me.
New watch
so
alert?
I'm always happy to show off my new stuff.
Lay it on us.
Yeah, so I recently picked up a Rolex Cellini Dananos, reference 4243. I am so thrilled with it. It's so many of the things that I wanted out of a Rolex and out of a new watch. So it's in the Cellini line. It's obviously a dress watch. It's hand wound, so it's very thin. It's in white gold. It's on an alligator strap with a white gold deployant buckle. Very interesting dial. I strongly recommend those listening to look up the 4243. It's what they call a bullseye tuxedo dial because it has the kind of concentric circles, much like a bullseye, and tuxedo because it's alternating black and silver, which is like a tuxedo if you had silver in it. Yeah, whatever. It's a tuxedo. It's very fancy. But I'm super pleased with it. I really wanted something different and original and cool. And I just, it's that new watch feeling when you just stare at it and you love it. And that's where I'm at with it right now.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I think you are in what they call the honeymoon phase.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And how new, really, are we talking about? Like, when did you get this?
Early January 2024. It's been under a month at this point. And I'm really just so pleased with it. I'm an authorized dealer, and so the people I work with, many of them have been selling watches for decades, and so I got a lot of love and praise from them, which was really high praise for me because, not in a bad way, but when you're in an industry for a certain amount of time, you can kind of become jaded, right?
And these people have seen everything at this point.
And they've seen everything, exactly. So for them to kind of give me the love and give me the credit from a genuine place, not just like, hey, cool watch. It felt really good. That was kind of the aspirational love I wanted to get. I wouldn't tell them that, but I really wanted to get it, and I did receive it. So I'm really happy with it. I'm really pleased with it. It was kind of a fun journey to hunt down, and to now have it on my wrist feels great, looks great. And one thing that was really important for me, which I think this watch is going to cross off my list, is I'm not going to see a lot of them. That makes me really happy.
I see.
Outside of my own. Sorry.
Right. Of course. That's very cool. Congratulations. Like, truly, it is a piece that I've never personally seen in real life, to be honest. I haven't seen it online until you sent me the reference number and I looked it up. It is striking. I am so enamored with how thin it is and precious metal.
White gold. Yeah, 18 karat.
Beautiful. Congratulations. Wear it in good health, and I'm so happy that I got to see it in real life now. Mm-hmm. Is there anything you want to ask me, Conor?
What is on your wrist?
So wouldn't you like to know?
That's okay.
Is that why you asked?
I thought that was maybe the route we were going down.
Maybe, perhaps. We'll see. You'll never know, because I won't tell you.
Check out the Timist YouTube channel.
It's not on YouTube.
Check out the Timist Instagram page.
That's right. It is on Instagram at this point in time, so have fun hunting it down. I will say that it has a copper, bronze, reddish dial.
It does.
And it's old.
And I'm not even on your Instagram page, and it does.
Yeah. Let's move on, shall we, to what is tradition right now and say, what is it that you do, just for folks that are joining us for the first time? Real quick, briefly,
Yeah.
What's your day job?
I am an authorized dealer. I sell a host of different watches, including Rolex watches and many other terrific brands. I sell jewelry, and that's how you and I got to know each other.
That's true. It was a wonderful, wonderful summer's eve.
that it was.
I think.
A day I'll never forget.
A day I'll never forget. No, I think it was actually early last year.
A summer's eve.
A summer's eve sounds
early January in the Northwest.
I love it. Okay, shall we do the news?
Let's do the news.
Let's do the news. Anything interesting, fascinating, cool that you've seen, heard, or talked about with anyone?
Time and Tide, I saw them unveil a bunch of new Tag Heuer releases.
Cool.
Some of the ones that I really thought were very interesting. Tag Heuer is a brand that I sell and I deal with, and it's, I wouldn't say controversial, but it kind of has, it's a brand that a lot of people have very strong opinions on. Some are quite hot on it, some are quite cool on it. Some of the new releases centered around the glass box Carrera, which they released last year, a watch I personally really like. There's two new versions. One, I think they're calling a dado. It has a large date, which is different. It's at 3 o'clock. Don't quote me too much because I haven't had any hands-on experience, but I thought it was really cool. They also released a green dial, which, as you know, is super hot, super on trend. And in both green and blue, as far as I know, a glass box tourbillon.
Oh my.
Yeah, and you know, I don't know if a tourbillon is a for everybody watch, but I really like to see Tag Heuer in specific creating something new and cool and taking advantage of it in an appropriate way that's just makes this watch attainable and makes this watch out there. And what I mean by that is to contrast with a really cool new release that's impossible to find and they made 50 of, right? Because sometimes a brand, whether it's Tag Heuer or whoever, will release a new product and it's hype and it's cool and it's interesting and there's like 5 in the country. And it's almost, to me, I think of it like, wow, you generated all this buzz and then you're kind of dropping the ball because people come around, they want to see this watch, they want to talk about this watch, and it's just not available. So I really like that Tag Heuer is moving in direction of creating cool, interesting products that are actually available. Just gotta say, it's really cool when a watch is available.
As someone that's an AD, that's your day job, it must be refreshing to be able to actually pull something out that someone comes in and says, hey, you wouldn't happen to have the fill in the blank. And you're like, actually I do.
Yeah, and it's not just like, oh, because I want to sell this watch. I do, but it's also just it's just a more satisfying experience. If you come in looking for a certain thing and not only do they not have it, which is totally understandable, but they can't get it and they won't get it and they don't really know anything about it, it just feels like no one left this conversation happy and no one wins. So watches being available, watches being new and exciting, I love that. It brings like energy to a place that really needs energy, because whether you're just shopping or looking, you want to feel something. You want to feel like, wow, there's so much going on here and look at all these cool products and it's available to me and I can try it on and I can experience it and I can be like the Timist. I can be like my favorite YouTuber. You know what I mean? Like, because sometimes this access is available, but I didn't get invited to Australia for the release. I didn't get invited to Watches and Wonders or, whatever. Like, totally. And most people don't. So where do we see these pieces? On YouTube, on Instagram, like, that's a cool thing, but it's not satisfying the way seeing it in real life is. So
100%. That makes complete sense. And I'm sorry, you weren't invited to Watches and Wonders? Oh, I'm sorry.
No.
I'll see if I can do anything for you.
Yeah, that'd be great. Drop my name.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for sharing that. That is indeed pretty awesome news and newsworthy. I am excited to see Tag Heuer do some really cool moves. I think I would say in the last 12 months, my personal perception of them has shifted drastically just because of the glass box as a whole, right? The black dial, the blue dial with the alternating like date location between 6 and 12. I think that was a turning point for the brand as a whole. And I'm really excited because it is sort of like the entry into the luxury watch space that the industry needs, that isn't asking astronomical prices for something that is well made, with Swiss lineage and a connection to motorsports.
Yeah, and Tag occupies this very interesting role in the industry, where outside of brands like, actually just comparable to Rolex, Tag Heuer is, in many ways, a household name. Many people know it. Many people's parents know it. It's been around a long time, which many brands been around a long time, but it's recognizable as a brand. So people see it and they go, oh yeah, Tag Heuer, I've seen this. So that's power. That's a superpower. Many people have not heard of Tudor. It's a great brand. Many people have not heard of IWC or plenty of other powerful brands.
Yeah.
Patek Philippe even. Many amazing brands that all the watch people know. Your average person on the street does not. Tag Heuer is a well-known brand, so that they have cool products and great energy behind it is exciting.
All right, let's move on to the Spotlight segment, shall we?
Yeah, so I mean, there's something I wanted to bring attention to because it's something that I finally got to see with my own two eyes, not just online.
And what's that?
It is the new Rolex 1908.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, so I saw one in yellow gold with a black dial.
Okay.
This watch is available with black and white dials in both yellow and white gold. Leather straps on all of these. Man.
It left an impression on you.
I mean, it's so different than the rest of the collection. And not just different, because different is one thing, you know, in terms of style, but function, right? I mean, even still, Rolex is often thought of as this high-end luxury brand, and it is, but their main product in so many ways is sports watches.
Yep.
Whether they're professional watches or they're Datejust watches or whatever, they're very much akin to often like steel. I mean, of course, there's many gem set and precious metal varieties, but they're known as robust watches. They're known as a watch you can wear every day for decades. We encourage people to wear them every day because they're honestly designed to do so. People do, and the 1908, it just doesn't fit into any of those segments. It's not a daily wear watch. It's not a sports watch. I don't have any reason to believe it's, you know, fragile, but it certainly isn't as robust as a Datejust or a Submariner or something like that, which is, you know, an Explorer, which is designed to be, you know, take a beating and keep on ticking. Obviously, it's 18 karat gold, which is fairly fragile, certainly akin to scratching. You know, the leather you'll have to replace. It's just not a daily wear watch. Even the buckle, which is beautiful deployant clasp, it's 18 karat gold. You know, people talk about that scratching on their desk when they're typing kind of thing. So it's just a really different direction. Obviously, we talked about the watch I'm wearing today, which is a Cellini model, a beautiful watch that I really love. But the Cellini model was, I don't think there's a failure kind of thing. It's not that, but they did stop making it, and it's not a highly sought after watch the way GMTs and Submariners are.
And the 1908 has a exhibition case back.
It does have an exhibition case back.
Thoughts?
Incredible. The movement is beautiful. It's finished incredibly well. The rotor is really well balanced. Oftentimes you'll see a rotor just kind of free spinning. It's not like that. Just a really beautiful watch on both sides. I think the people we were looking at it with were all different authorized dealers, and everyone was blown away by the back. And not just because it was a Rolex with an open case back, which is, you know, almost unprecedented, but just a really, really high quality open case back. I think the retail is, I want to say $22,000. Obviously a lot of money, but this is a solid gold watch, and it looks great. And it looks expensive too. So for $22,000, it's going to look like a whole lot of watch. I was just really floored with it, and I'm very curious to see what Rolex today, where their role is with dress watches, because the Rolex of today is not quite the Rolex of 10 years ago when the Cellini was a much more common watch, or even 5 years ago. So I'm curious to see how this avenue is going to open up. When I talk to people about Rolex, a lot of the things they're drawn to is they like the weight. They like the feel. They like the robustness. They like the steel. They like that they can just wear this watch. And honestly, that's not what the 1908 is. So I'm not like sitting here being like, is this watch going to be a failure? Is no one going to buy it? I don't think that's a concern. But as the kind of market opens up and maybe there's more 1908s or more in this style, what does that mean for Rolex, and what does that mean for the Rolex consumer?
Right, which traditionally may have not turned to Rolex for a elegant dress watch, but they will have looked at the traditional sort of elegant dressy watchmakers of the world, the JLCs, the Pateks maybe.
I definitely consider this a direct competitor to the Calatrava. Even though the Calatrava is about $10,000 more and, you know, doesn't feature all the same things. It's not like it's the same watch. It's not, but certainly a comparable alternative, which I think is actually a very fair comparison, even though there's a price difference. I think that's who they want to compete with. Is certainly that space in the market, if not so much directly Patek, which is obviously producing at much smaller numbers.
Right. Wonderful. Awesome.
But most importantly, the watch is gorgeous, and I'm really excited for people to see it whenever they get the chance.
Well, hopefully.
Might be a while.
Well, time will tell.
Time will tell.
All right. Well, I want to spotlight a watch brand that I learned about fairly recently. I'd say the last couple of weeks. I've been sort of obsessed with them, to be honest with you. And they go by the name of Sartory Billard. That's Billard. So it's a Swiss-French company. Billard, the owner, is a absolute watch addict. He's a big fan of horology, and the way in which he approaches watchmaking kind of left me gobsmacked. There was an interview done by Revolution on YouTube that I watched. It's about a month old now, but I learned a ton about the person behind the watches and sort of his ethos behind how he perceives the world of watchmaking and the subsequent collection of watches. The magic, or the thing that sort of pulled me in, is that every single watch that Mr. Billard makes is essentially a piece unique.
One of one. Every watch.
Every single one is one of one because of a specific hook. And that hook is, you get to decide from a list of dials and hour markers and materials and just various colors. And essentially, it's sort of like build your own watch. And the thing about Mr. Billard and his company is that he doesn't make everything in-house, but he lists every single supplier and manufacturer that he works with.
That's
and
cool.
There are some heavy hitters out there. There's only 3 case makers in all of Switzerland.
Right.
So everything is quality, everything is transparent, and the kicker is that you could, in theory, have a piece unique for approximately $4,000. The website lists that prices start at 3,600 euros. So let's just call it $4,000. And there's multiple product lines with varying movements and varying finishes and varying options. So you could go from $4,000 to $100,000 plus.
Wow.
We're talking tourbillons and just a level of finishing that is worthy of a piece unique. Different materials, stainless steel, titanium. I think I've seen tantalum, precious metals. I've seen just a mind-boggling roster of dials that you can have, different stones, from aventurine to titanium dial, meteorite, precious metals, mother of pearl, even, and the thing that kind of grabbed my attention, because I actually had a crazy idea to make my own watch, incorporating a silicon wafer. We're talking, you remember back in the day, you had like a CD and you look at it and make those crazy cool like rainbow color reflections.
Yeah.
Imagine that, but from a silicon wafer, from a computer chip. It's very delicate. It's very hard to work with. Imagine having a dial made of that.
Should you be giving away all your cool watch ideas on a podcast?
It's fine.
All right.
It's fine.
You gotta send us one if you make it.
I give the people what they want.
Okay, first of all, that sounds super cool. I gotta check them out. That's a really unique market position. I gotta ask, maybe this is a challenge. If it's a custom watch in that you can choose all these different options, you and I, unknowingly, could potentially choose all the same options.
In theory.
So not really unique.
Well, there's more. You can have certain messages inscribed onto the watch, and within the various lines, you can actually have it inscribed either on the movement or on the outside case. So I could say Conor is a jerk.
Yeah, I would have wrote that. I would put that on mine too.
Yeah.
So we're back in the same place.
Yeah.
Is that a piece unique or is that a customized watch? You know what I mean? Like when I think of piece unique,
sure.
One of one. We only made one.
Yeah.
We're never going to make another one of these. Now, obviously, you put the right customizations on it that are meaningful to you. No one else is going to do that. No one else is going to put your name or, the birth of your child or your wedding day or like that's. But if I engrave my watch,
that's not a piece.
That's not a piece unique.
Sure. I left out a key component. You can bring your own ideas, your crazy off-the-wall ideas to Mr. Billard and say,
wow,
here's what I would like to have. And he can work through that whole design exploration process.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. I'm glad that exists.
Yeah, in fact, he actually welcomes that challenge. He seems to thrive in the face of, here's what I envision, and I'd like to have these materials being used. And him going, I don't have any tools, processes, or knowledge about how to go about making that vision a reality, but I can't wait to figure it out with you.
That is cool. Putting on my professional hat here for a minute.
Sure.
That sounds really challenging. I wonder 100%. What, like, you, the consumer's commitment is. Like, at what point are you putting a down payment? Mm-hmm. At what point are you not able to back out? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, just from a practical standpoint.
Sure.
Because why waste a watchmaker's time with all these different ideas, and then you're like, nah, never mind.
Well,
or, hey, I wanted dark green. This isn't the dark green I wanted. Yeah. I want a refund. I want you to, like, how would you make money? How would you, and just in terms of business. Mm-hmm. But I'm just curious because obviously they wouldn't have gotten this far and done all this without already having thought of that. I'm just saying I'm curious because...
Founded and operated in 2015.
Oh, okay.
So they've been doing it for a little while.
Yeah, no, that's a good run.
And there is a outline of, like, here's what you can expect as someone that's interested in doing this. You pay this amount of money at this phase, and once we hit this phase, you pay the rest. In the interim, here's all the steps that we have to go through in order to ensure that we are indeed heading down the same path as a collective. And I don't think that I understand what you want, and I go ahead and make it, and then I present it to you, and you go, that's not periwinkle blue. That's
it's cornflower blue.
It's cornflower blue, yeah. So,
that's awesome. I'll have to check them out.
Absolutely. Do that.
Too bad I can't spell either of those words.
I'll hook you up.
All right.
Shall we go into the next phase?
Let's go on.
I like to call this behind the curtain. So in this segment, I get to ask my special guest something that pertains to their specific field of profession. What they do, and something that they do potentially every single day or maybe every now and then, but they have a keen insight and outlook as to what that is because it's part of their job. Us on the outside looking in, we can theorize and say, I bet you they do this, or I'm sure that this is how they handle that. But at the end of the day, it's all speculation. So what I like to do is ask you something from behind the curtain that maybe you can share with us that will be enlightening and sort of eye-opening.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. And I just... because this is going to relate to Rolex, and I just want to say it's not the only brand I work with, and I don't want to make that this one dominating thing, but it is a dominant force in the industry, and it's on people's mind in one way or another a lot of the time. Even watch brands that are nothing to do with Rolex aren't even associated with it. Rolex in many ways is like an industry guide in a lot of ways. But anyways, so this is going to relate to that, but I don't only see that color, I guess is what I want you to think. Let me take this crown off and my green robe, yes, whatever, and just speak freely. Because obviously Rolex is very, very popular and the demand is very, very high, especially for hype pieces like GMTs and really all of them, And there's these client lists and waiting lists, and it's a very contentious category. It's really hard for me because I just want to make people happy. I just want people to be satisfied, and I'm not able to do so all the time. The call I make to someone, I'm not making that call to a large number of individuals who would also like that call and like that opportunity, and that's very forefront in my mind. So given that context, I kind of want to flip it to you and ask you. Now, I know you're not in this industry, and obviously it's not fair for me to ask you a professional question into an area where you are not a professional in, but you are in the industry in that you are someone who is on a list and has purchased a Rolex and may purchase a Rolex in the future. And you've talked to other people who know about this and who are involved in this.
Sure.
So let me I know, again, it's not a fair question, but I just want to put it out there because I think it'd be an interesting thought exercise.
Sure.
All right, James, the Timist. Yeah. You are now an authorized dealer for the next 2 hours.
Sure.
In these 2 hours, you are given I'll give you a specific model. Let's say you have a Rolex Submariner with a date. Black bezel, black dial. Highly desirable. You have one watch, and you have a list of X people who want this watch. And X is greater than 1. Far greater than 1. Who do you call?
That's easy. I call the Ghostbusters. Okay.
Let me give you some options, okay?
Sorry, you set me up for that.
Yeah, you're right, all right. Who are you going to call?
The Ghostbusters.
Yes, that's correct. All right, end of segment. No. So here's some of the options that present themselves. Okay? You have the person you met first. The person you met the longest ago, who's in theory been waiting the longest amount of time. Right? Maybe this was 6 months ago. Maybe this was 3 years ago. And they haven't gotten that call from you for whatever reason. And they've been waiting a very long time.
So from a chronological standpoint, they are the first on the list.
They are the first on the list.
Okay.
If this was a traditional waiting list, it's not. If this was a traditional waiting list, they would be due this watch.
Let's just pause there. There is no traditional waiting list.
So context being, every AD is going to do it differently, but no. In my experience, it's not a literal number system like you're in a line at
the DMV.
Yeah, exactly. You're number 112, because then it would be a bit easier to say, hey, you're 118th in line. We sell about approximately one of these a month. You're about 118 months now, which no one would like to hear.
Yeah.
That might be worse. Where I work, I'm able to choose. So now you have this opportunity. So there's the person who's waited the longest. There's the person who you believe, for whatever reason, is the most deserving. Not financially deserving, and then they spent the most money with you, because that's also one of the options. But maybe they have a really good story, right? And a meaningful one, not a BS one. Like, you know, could be something relating to a family member, or something about, there's a million good reasons. We don't need to be specific, but a really, you know, people have a watch and they have a really good story. This person has a really good story. They just don't have the watch to complete the story. It's a story that means a lot to you. You think they deserve the watch. A deserved person with a great story about why they want this watch. Not just, hey, I saw it online, it looked cool, and there's nothing wrong with that, because that's a legit reason to want to watch too.
It's true.
But this person has a story with some emotion, some gravitas around why they want it. Okay? That's another one.
Okay.
You've also got a really loyal client. Someone who comes to you for their business. They've bought other watches from you in the past. They've done, you know, services. They come to you. They refer people to you. This person is a reason you have made money. Okay?
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, remember, this is a business.
This is a business,
We are
yes.
selling stuff here. I know Rolex is a little dicey, but these are all companies that make profits. They're being sold for a profit. So that's a factor in this. We would be foolish to think otherwise.
So let's do a recap. We have the person that's first on the list from a chronological standpoint. The first person that came to you and said, Conor, I would love a Rolex Submariner date. Then we have the second person, which is the person that is the most deserving from a story standpoint. Like, there's something that is so epically intrinsic to this event that having this watch would just put it over the top and be the cherry on top of the ice cream cake.
They tug at your heartstrings.
They tug at your heartstrings. And then the third one so far is the person that has just brought in a bunch of business in various forms, whether they're personal purchases or they've brought in folks into the industry and you are their guy.
Yeah.
And so you get introduced. And services, you're the go-to.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's three. Any more? Any other?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
But
Okay.
we could do this all day is kind of the point. But,
Yeah.
you know, like someone who has a big event. I've always wanted to wear a Rolex in my wedding. I'm having my first child being born in X amount of months, and I really want to have this the month they're born, and the serial number matches the date of the year of their birth, you know, like that kind of stuff. And there's another 1,000 really good reasons that someone, including someone who you just like, we're humans. We connect with people we like, right? And more,
Not you
and
and
more
I.
and more.
Not you and I.
No.
Because we don't like each other.
No. This is business. And we could get lost in the and this person and this person and this person.
Yeah.
But the point is, all of these people deserve this watch. And if they don't have a good story and they haven't brought a lot of business to you and they don't have a meaningful, heart-pulling story, they also deserve the watch.
Right.
It's not, there's no gatekeeping here, but you only have one to sell.
Right. That is sort of the filter. Right?
One. This one.
And that's why we're in this scenario.
So, who do you choose, or how do you come to decision? You, not me, not the industry. You're the AD for this watch. Truly, how are you going to pick? Because there's no rule book. When you become an AD, they don't say this is the process. Maybe some stores do. Maybe some dealers do, maybe some brands do, but that's not the experience I'm having. It's not the experience you're having in this moment, which is mostly hypothetical. So
those are your rules.
You got this watch, $10,000, couple $100. Mm-hmm. Who gets the watch, James?
First of all, I just want to ask, is this some form of weird therapy that you're trying to get out of this situation where you go, you know what, I struggle with this every single day of my existence when I'm at work, and I'm just trying to make peace with some of the decisions, choices, or future choices that I need to make. I need to tap into some sort of a pool of good reasons as to why I may make a choice.
Yeah, and and I also know that people who are listening might be on a list, and I just want them to know that it's not that you don't deserve it. It's not that you're not thought of. It's that there's so many factors into this. There's so many reasons to sell and to not sell someone something, and it's professional and it's personal, and it's a really hard decision every single time. And I want them to know that this is the literal scenario, and that it's a good thought exercise that they should think about it too. And as you are on a list for a watch, I know this. So I ask you, who do you pick?
Well, yeah, it's tough. And I think as human beings, when you're on the receiving end of, let's say, bad news, because sometimes no news is bad news, because you're just like, well, I know nothing and I've just been waiting and the wait is just killing me. It's easy to point a finger and say, well, I'm not getting it because I've only bought one thing, or I haven't purchased anything. I'm just here saving $20 every paycheck for my dream watch to buy, and that's the only watch I want to buy, because realistically I can't have more. That's a reality that most people have. We don't start on this journey going like, I'm going to become a watch collector.
Yeah.
You kind of just buy one and go, wow, this is really cool. And there's other people involved with it, and they're just as passionate, if not more, and they know a lot of stuff. And I find it fascinating because I get to learn, and oh my goodness, I bought another watch, and now it's 2. And 2 is nice, but 3 sounds better.
Now I need a winder. Now I need a travel roll, and now I need a case.
Exactly.
And now I need watch insurance.
Exactly. Yeah. So it is.
Who gets the watch?
I'm trying to listen. For me, the way I see it is, the most joy that I extract out of life is when I get to do cool things that I know will bring joy into the lives and the hearts of the people that I care about the most in this life.
That's why you would make a great Santa Claus.
I'm not that tall. I am round, just not so tall.
Is Santa notoriously tall?
Perhaps.
Okay. Who gets the watch, James?
I don't know.
That's not an option. You got to sell the damn watch.
It's not an option.
You have to sell the watch. Someone has to get it.
So yeah,
I got one, but someone needs to buy it.
It's a conundrum. The Batman in me, the fair Batman in me, says the first person that got their name on the watch should get the watch.
Yeah.
That's fair, dude. I was here. I woke up early in the morning. It was 4:00 in the morning, and I stood in line, and I put my name. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I put in the work. Fair is fair. I was here first. Okay. The romantic in me says that person that has a magical, beautiful life event that's coming up deserves to be celebrated. And getting married or having a child is a huge, huge life event, right? Getting a huge promotion at work is a huge life event that people like to celebrate and commemorate, and have a physical object that they can point their finger at and say, I remember that awesome day. It's right there. So the romantic in me says that the person that's having this beautiful life event taking place should get the watch.
Oh my God, you're just going to affirm every single person, aren't you, and not pick one in the end?
Wait, what was the third one, though?
Money.
Well,
business. Really,
business,
client.
Right.
Being a client, I want to clarify, in this example, I'm not saying the person who spent the most money.
Yeah.
I mean a person who's been a very loyal client and has done business to you. It doesn't matter what the money is. It just is a way of separating them from someone who you met before them, but who has not actually done business with you or in your location.
So in a way, we could just label that as loyalty.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay.
And business.
Right.
This is business. We're selling stuff.
Yeah. That doesn't make it any better. I was hoping at least one of them was going to be an easy cut, but I mean, yeah. If I feel like I've put in the time and the mileage and the effort and the energy, that person also deserves the watch.
And again, the person who has none of these things
Also deserves
deserves the watch.
Because we should live in a world where if we see something and we like it, and if we can, pay for it, then we should be able to purchase it.
Debatable, because we're talking about high-end luxury goods that take a long time to make. If you wanted a Rolex for everybody, it wouldn't be a Rolex. At least within current parameters of how many watchmakers exist and how many factories exist, right? You want a watch for everybody? Yeah, that exists. It's a Swatch.
Well, now we're talking about what I like to call the Ferrari protocol.
You want a Ferrari to be handmade and that carbon fiber was all blessed by the Pope and... whatever. Let's assume how Ferraris are made. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, you want it to be of the highest caliber.
Yeah.
You can't rush that.
Yeah.
But anyways, we're getting off track.
I don't like your question. Your question sucks.
Dude. This is literally many times a month for me. So I want you to pick someone. There's no wrong answer, but...
Well, every answer seems like it's the wrong answer, given that I know that there's so many other people that are all deserving that are not getting it. I hate it. I don't like this. Your job... is giving me high blood pressure.
When the person gets the call, they're really happy. You feel validated. It's a glorious moment. But yeah, there's X people out there whose phone is not ringing.
So here's the thing.
I'm taking someone to prom and I'm leaving someone at the altar. Does that make sense? Is that a good analogy?
No, it makes sense. I think the loyalty aspect is admirable one and one that shouldn't be overlooked. Right? You are in the business of selling things, and so that's something that we can't just discount. On the receiving end of that, if you're not that person, you're like, well, of course they're going to sell it to the person that spent N number of dollars because they spent N number of dollars. And then again, on the other side of the coin, I go back and say, well, the person that has 30 watches shouldn't get another watch to have 31 watches. Right. They should just wait a bit so that others that maybe have no watches have the one watch that they really wanted for their wedding, for their child's birth, for an anniversary, for their, promotion at work. So at this point in time, I think I can at least set aside the person that has been loyal and say, just hang out a bit. Just hang out a bit.
Yeah, people love when you don't reward their loyalty. That's awesome.
No, well, maybe...
Go on.
That's not what I said.
Yeah.
But
business.
But they have quite a few. Maybe we focus on bringing in some new folks.
Fair.
Maybe we focus on making someone's year.
Love that.
Again, there's no right or wrong answer. Well, I feel like...
There's exclusively right and wrong answers because everyone is both.
That's true. I think I would be... today...
Starting to sweat.
Today, in this scenario, I think I would probably go... I want your special day to be made even more special. And I think I would call the person that I knew was having their wedding or was having, a child or was celebrating a massive milestone or an anniversary today. Okay, tomorrow I might call the person because my Batman instinct kicked and I was like, you got on the list like eons ago. And guess what? Today's your day.
Today's your day.
Yeah. And then, of course, by the end of the week, I would definitely call the loyal person as well and be like, hey, guess what? Good news. Or I might...
You only have one watch. There's no multiple phone calls here.
I might flip it. Well, hold on. I mean...
You get one watch.
I get one watch maybe this week.
This is right.
Right? Maybe next week I get more than one. Or maybe I get none. I don't know how it works. Conor.
Yeah, okay.
Right? I think the moral of the story is the highs are pretty high and the lows are very frequent and pretty low because you only make so many people's days. And I think it's easy for us on the outside looking in to point the finger and say, well, of course I'm not getting the call because I haven't visited Conor 3 times this week, or I haven't spent N number of dollars.
Yeah.
Or I don't have some big life thing that's happening. I'm just the guy that's really into watches and I showed up and I put my name on the list. Of course I'm not going to get the call. It's easy to sort of pigeonhole into that scenario. That sucks, right? The other side of it is your reality, which is every day you have to make this choice. And what I want to surface and bring attention to is that you are a human being with feelings and emotions.
Whoa.
You are a human being with feelings and emotions, and you struggle with this choice and decision weekly. And I think it's lost on most of us it goes both ways. I have feelings and sentiments that get hurt when I don't get called. You have feelings and sentiments that get hurt because you only get to make one call.
Yeah.
So I just thank you for sharing, and I also don't want to thank you because that was a sucky exercise. I did not like it.
Sort of a logical fallacy, because every right answer has 1,000 wrong answers, and every correct decision, which is the correct decision, is reinforced by all the bad reasons why you should have actually chosen the other one.
Completely. I lose either way.
Yeah. But hey, someone is going to get the watch they want, and someone is going to be really happy, and it's oftentimes not if, but when, but that when is indeterminable. So it's a hard choice to make, but know that all those factors are considered every single time, unless your AD sucks.
Well, that's a fascinating look behind the curtain of what it's like to be an AD and have to make the choice of who you call.
Ghostbusters.
We're back at it, baby. Thank you for sharing, and thank you for walking us through sort of a day in the life of an AD. I don't envy your choice. I wish you had many, many calls that you can make every single day to brighten people's lives. It's a funky, crazy, weird, silly hobby that we're in, and there's many facets to it, and rarely is there one clear choice or answer. So, what choice would you make?
All of them.
All of them.
You know? Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, they're all the right choice. So, yeah.
Conor, thank you so much. Can you do me a favor? Can you let the people know how they can get a hold of you on the socials?
Yeah, find me on Instagram, watches and blunders, underscores between the words. Happy to hang out and communicate and check out the cool reels I post.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. And on that note, it's time to conclude episode 2 of the Timist Podcast Series. A sincere thank you for hanging out with us. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself and had some fun along the way. If you did, then please push all of the buttons that will help you hear more of us in the future. And a special thank you to our guest for this episode, Conor. If you want to connect with Conor and talk watches, then I recommend you follow him on Instagram. And speaking of socials, if you want to continue the conversation, you can find me at _Timist_IG on Instagram. Thanks for listening. I'm the Timist. Be well, and I'll catch you in the next one.